if I were to tell you that being kind emphasizes your chance of survival? What if I told you that the simple act of being kind can help you live longer, be stronger, and live more successful and fulfilling lives? What would you change? So in the crowd, raise your hand if you're familiar with the coined term, survival of the fittest. Yeah, Darwin, right? We're so familiar with that coined concept. But what comes to mind when we think of that? We think of this hyper-competitive, cutthroat, and desensitized side of human nature. But is that really how we are meant to be? Is that really how we are biologically built to be in order to thrive, and in this case, to survive? So survival of the fittest is just one small puzzle piece to a larger picture. It's a matter of us learning how to take a step back and looking at Darwin's eclectic works as a whole. Darwin actually said this, although it does go unaccredited and underlooked most of the time. He said that the most compassionate and sympathetic societies would thrive the most. And this shines a light and reveals that we don't have to be this hyper-competitive and cutthroat society, but rather we need to learn to change the definition of survival of the fittest. And what, quote-unquote, makes a society fit? It's simple. It's kindness. It reveals that we don't have to be this cutthroat society, but rather a society that emphasizes community, culture, and embrace. This past summer, I was doing neurology research at UCSD, and as I was diving into the intricacies of the human mind and getting extremely fascinated with the human mind on the molecular level, I got extremely fascinated with the human mind under different social cues and situations. And at the time, UC Berkeley was conducting similar research, but Dr. Keltner was observing the science behind being kind. He showed photos of prototypical suffering to subjects, photos of famine, of death, and he took their brain scans. And what came out of those brain scans was truly revealing. And he couldn't be far more off of his hypothesis. So the initial hypothesis was that there would be the most neurological activity in the prefrontal cortex of the brain. As you can see, the prefrontal cortex of the brain is the uppermost surface part of the human mind. It is the last to develop, and it is the most evolved part of the human brain. In short, it makes us humans human. And so it would make sense that when we are empathetic towards someone, it takes higher consciousness. It would take this part of the mind. But that wasn't the case. What was actually found that had the most neurological activity was the brainstem. As you can see, the brainstem is the innermost core part of the human mind. It is the most primitive part of the brain, and it is responsible for most of our autonomic functions, like heart rate and breath. And so what does this reveal? It not only supports Darwin's hypothesis that being kind is beneficial to us, but that being kind is embedded in the frameworks of our DNA. Pretty amazing, right? Yeah. It's also found that research supports that being kind is not only beneficial to us, but is very vital for our overall well-being and our health. Almost as important as daily exercise and eating a balanced diet. So what the University of North Carolina discovered was that the two hormones released when you are kind are oxytocin and vasopressin. Oxytocin and vasopressin have vital effects on the vagus nerve. As you can see, the vagus nerve is the largest nerve in the body. It has vital effects on our breathing and our heart rate, our digestive systems. It communicates and simulates information throughout our bodies. And what these two hormones, oxytocin and vasopressin, have on our bodies is that it gives the vagus nerve a greater heart rate variability. And with this greater heart rate variability, it decreases the chance of diabetes, of heart failure, and of other major diseases, as well as strengthening our immune systems and helping us live longer lives. So now that we know that being kind not only benefits us individually, physically, and mentally, how do we transcend this idea to a greater scale, to affect our communities as a whole? So Einstein once said that the future of humanity needs to understand compassion as much as it needs technological advancements that have already connected us. Then and only then we will unify. And this is so true because before we go on to tackle these lofty goals and extreme triumphs abroad, we need to lay our foundation here for looking out for one another. We are stronger together, but only if we choose to be. You see, it's a matter of starting the ripple effect of kindness. And it's such an underrated concept and such a simple concept, yet it affects us in so many different ways. And it has a vital impact in our communities. Darwin also said that the only thing preventing man from spreading his sympathies to other nations and races are artificial barriers. So it's time to take down these barriers that we've built up our whole lives and just start right now to be kind to one another. We have so much fear of failing and of not wanting to try, and we lose that opportunity to connect with another human being. It's a matter of us bridging the gap between competition and compassion and learning that they're the same side of one coin. So I challenge you guys today to have a challenge for kindness. So under each and every one of your seats, if you guys haven't found already, there's going to be a blue card. Yeah, on that card, there is a Monday through Sunday listing of conscious acts of kindness you can do every single day. So you may feel like you don't make an impact, but on the other end, you could make someone else's world. So I challenge you guys to just do these simple acts of kindness daily and see how it impacts yourself, your communities, and just the people around you. It's a matter of us changing the definition of survival of the fittest to survival of the kindest. Thank you, and have a good night.